I believed my husband was having an affair. I was wrong. The woman I followed him to was not his girlfriend. She was his wife. And according to the marriage certificate hanging inside her home, she had married him 3 years before I did. My name is Rachel Cole. I was 36 years old when I discovered that nearly everything I knew about my marriage was a lie. My husband's name was Adam Cole. At least that was the name he had used with me. We had been married for 7 years and had a 6-year-old daughter named Sophie. To our friends, Adam was the kind of husband women were lucky to find. He remembered anniversaries. He packed Sophie's lunches when I worked early shifts. He called my mother every Sunday. After she moved into assisted living, he never raised his voice. He never disappeared for entire weekends. He never came home smelling like perfume. That was what made the first clue so easy to dismiss. It was a receipt from a children's shoe store. I found it in the pocket of Adam's winter coat while checking for tissues before taking it to the dry cleaner. The receipt was for a pair of boys' snow boots, size 4. We did not have a son. Sophie wore a size 1. The purchase had been made in a town called Bellwether, almost 60 miles north of our home. When I asked Adam about it,
he smiled. He said the boots were part of a Christmas
donation organized by his company. It sounded reasonable. Adam worked as a regional compliance consultant for a construction firm. He traveled often and regularly attended charity events on behalf of the company. I apologized for questioning him. He kissed my forehead and told me I worried too much. 2 weeks later, I found the hotel key card. It fell from his wallet while he was looking for a credit card at dinner. Adam picked it up quickly, but I had already seen the gold lettering, the Ashford Inn. Bellwether. The same town printed on the shoe store receipt. He told me he had attended a business conference there. I asked why he had never mentioned it. He paused for half a second. Then he said the meeting had been added to his schedule at the last minute. That pause stayed with me. It was not long. Most people would not have noticed it. But I had lived with Adam for 9 years. I knew how quickly he answered ordinary questions. I knew the small line that appeared between his eyebrows when he was trying to remember something. That night, he was not remembering. He was creating. After dinner, I checked our shared calendar. There was no conference listed. The following morning, I called his office while he was in the shower. I pretended I wanted to surprise him with lunch. The receptionist told me Adam would not be at the office because every Thursday was his remote work day. I thanked her and ended the call. Adam had told me Thursdays were the days he visited construction sites. For the next 3 weeks, I watched him more closely. Every Thursday, he left the house at 7:30 in the morning. He wore a suit but never carried his company laptop. He returned shortly before 6. Some Thursdays,
he brought flowers. Other Thursdays,
he arrived with small gifts for Sophie. He was always unusually affectionate. After coming home, I began to hate Thursdays. I also began to hate myself. Part of me wanted to search his phone. Another part wanted to pretend nothing had changed. I told myself there might still be an innocent explanation. Perhaps Adam was helping a friend. Perhaps the company receptionist had misunderstood his schedule. Perhaps the hotel keycard was old. Then, on the first Thursday in December, Adam left his phone charging on the kitchen counter. He was outside clearing snow from the driveway. The phone vibrated. A message appeared on the screen. There was no name, only a number I did not recognize. The message contained 5 words. Evan keeps asking for you. Before I could read anything else, Adam came back into the kitchen. He saw me standing near the phone. His expression changed. It happened so quickly that I almost missed it. Fear, not guilt. Fear. He picked up the phone and placed it in his pocket. Who's Evan? I asked. Adam looked directly at me. A client's son. Why is a client telling you that her son keeps asking for you? I helped the family with a housing dispute. He answered too quickly this time. Then he kissed me and left for work without finishing his coffee. That afternoon, I made a decision I am still not proud of. I followed my husband. The following Thursday, I told Adam I had taken an extra shift at the hospital. I was an occupational therapist and sometimes worked with patients on short notice, so he had no reason to question me. I drove to a shopping center near his office, and waited in the far corner of the parking lot. At 7:52. His black SUV passed the entrance. I stayed several cars behind him. Adam did not drive toward his office. He took the highway north. An hour later.
He entered Bellwether. The town looked like a Christmas postcard. Snow covered the roofs of small
Brick buildings. Wreaths hung from every streetlight. Families walked between shops carrying presents and cups of hot chocolate. Adam turned onto a quiet residential street and parked in front of a pale blue house with white shutters. A Christmas wreath hung on the door. A bicycle lay near the garage. Beside it was a pair of boys' snow boots. Size 4. I parked half a block away. My hands were shaking so badly that I dropped my phone between the seats. Adam walked to the front door. He did not knock. He used a key. A few seconds later, a woman appeared in the doorway. She was around my age, perhaps a little older. She had shoulder-length blonde hair and wore a navy sweater. She smiled when she saw Adam. Then she wrapped her arms around him. He kissed her, not on the cheek, not like a friend. He kissed her the same way he kissed me when he returned from a long trip. A boy ran from inside the house. He looked about 8 years old. He threw himself against Adam and shouted something I could not hear through the closed windows of my car. I did not need to hear it. I could read his lips. Dad. The boy had Adam's eyes. I drove away before anyone saw me. I do not remember most of the trip home. I remember stopping at a red light and realizing I had been crying. I remember a driver honking when the light turned green. I remember pulling into our garage and seeing Sophie's pink backpack hanging beside the door. That was when the anger disappeared. In its place came terror. Adam did not simply have another woman. He appeared to have another child. Another home. Another family. I considered packing a bag and taking Sophie to my sister's apartment, but I needed proof. If I confronted Adam with only what I had seen, he might lie. He might erase messages. He might move money. He might try to take Sophie. So I behaved normally. I made dinner. I helped Sophie with her reading homework. When Adam came home, I asked how his day had been. Boring, he said. He sat beside Sophie and helped her finish a paper snowflake. That night, I waited until he was asleep. Then I took his phone from the nightstand. His usual passcode did not work. Neither did our anniversary. I entered Sophie's birthday. The phone unlocked. Most of the messages were ordinary. His call history looked normal. There were no dating applications and no photographs of the blonde woman. Then I opened the settings and noticed something strange. Adam's phone was connected to a second cloud account. The account used an email address I had never seen. Michael Hayes 1979. I wrote the address down. The next morning, I searched the name. Hundreds of results appeared. None looked like Adam. Then I added Bellwether. A photograph appeared on the website of a local elementary school. It had been taken during a fundraising event 80 months earlier. The blonde woman stood beside a table covered with homemade cakes. The little boy was next to her. Behind them stood my husband. The caption identified them as Rebecca Hayes, her husband Michael, and their son Evan. I stared at the photograph until the faces blurred. Adam Cole was Michael Hayes. Michael Hayes had a wife named Rebecca. I searched public records. Michael and Rebecca Hayes owned the pale blue house together. They had purchased it 11 years earlier, 3 years before Adam met me. A county property document listed Michael Hess's date of birth. It was the same as Adam's. The middle name was different, but everything else matched. I still needed to know whether Rebecca understood what was happening. She might have known about me. She might believe I was the affair, or she might be living inside the same lie. The next Thursday, I returned to Bellwether. After Adam left the house, I waited until I saw him drive away from the pale blue home. Then I walked to Rebecca's door. She answered wearing jeans and a gray sweater. Up close, she looked tired. There were faint shadows under her eyes. "Can I help you?" she asked. "My name is Rachel." The moment I said my name, something changed in her expression. She knew it. She gripped the doorframe. "How do you know Michael?" she whispered. "I don't know anyone named Michael." I showed her a photograph from my wedding. Adam stood beside Me beneath an arch of white roses. His arm was around my waist. Rebecca looked at the picture. Then she looked at me. That's my husband, she said. His name is Adam Cole. No, his name is Michael Hayes. We've been married for 7 years. Rebecca's face went completely still. I've been married to him for 11. Neither of us spoke. Behind her, I saw a framed wedding photograph hanging in the hallway. Rebecca wore a simple lace gown. The groom beside her was younger, clean-shaven and smiling. But it was Adam, or Michael, whatever his real name was. Rebecca slowly stepped aside. You should come in. The inside of her house felt painfully familiar. The same brand of coffee Adam bought for our kitchen sat beside her machine. The same blue blanket he liked to use at home was folded across her sofa. A framed photograph showed him holding newborn. Another showed the three of them at a lake. There were 11 years of memories on those walls. Rebecca brought a wooden box from an upstairs closet. Inside was her marriage certificate. The document stated that Rebecca Lauren Miller had married Michael Andrew Hayes on May 14th. 11 years earlier, I opened my phone and showed her a photograph of my certificate. Rachel Marie Parker had married Adam Thomas Cole on September 22nd. 7 years earlier, both certificates contained official seals. Both contained the same man's face. For nearly 4 hours, Rebecca and I compared our lives. Michael told her he worked as an insurance investigator. Adam told me he worked in construction compliance. Michael traveled every Monday through Wednesday. Adam was usually away during those same days, on Thursdays. He told me he was visiting construction sites. He told Rebecca he was working from home. Every Christmas, he spent the morning with me and Sophie. Then he claimed he had to visit his mother's grave. He spent those afternoons with Rebecca and Evan. His mother was alive. She lived in Arizona. Rebecca knew her as Helen Hayes. I knew her as Patricia Cole. We called both numbers. Neither was in service. Rebecca began crying when I showed her a photograph of Sophie. Evan and Sophie had the same blue-gray eyes, the same small dimple in their left cheeks. The same father, their brother and sister. She whispered. I wanted to hate Rebecca. Instead, I saw my own confusion reflected in her face. She had not stolen my husband. I had not stolen hers. He had stolen years from both of us. And Rebecca remembered something. 2 months earlier, Michael had asked her to update her life insurance policy. He told her it was important because they had a child. The policy was worth $1 million. Michael was the beneficiary. My stomach turned cold. 3 weeks earlier, Adam had asked me to sign new insurance documents. He said his employer was changing providers. I had signed them without reading every page. Adam was also my beneficiary. We searched Rebecca's filing cabinet and found a copy of her policy. Then, I logged into my insurance account on her computer. The policies had been opened on the same day. They were issued by the same company. They were prepared by the same
insurance agent, a
man named Peter Lawson. I searched the name online. The photograph on the agency website was not a stranger. Peter Lawson was one of Adam's closest friends. He had attended our wedding. He was Sophie's godfather. Rebecca looked through her husband's desk while I photographed both policies. Inside the bottom drawer, she found a small black phone. The battery was nearly dead. She connected it to a charger when the screen came on. There were no messages, only one audio file. It had been recorded the previous night. Rebecca pressed play. At first, we heard only the sound of a car engine. Then Peter Lawson spoke. You can't keep moving between both houses. One of them is going to figure it out, Adam answered. It doesn't matter anymore. What does that mean? It means everything will be finished by Christmas Eve. Peter lowered his voice. And the children? There was a long silence. Then my husband said something that made Rebecca drop the phone. They'll believe what we tell them. By Christmas morning, I won't have either wife to worry about. At that exact moment, headlights swept across Rebecca's living room window. A black SUV stopped outside. My husband had come back, and both of his wives were waiting inside. The headlights outside Rebecca's house went dark. For several seconds, neither of us moved. Then we heard the familiar sound of a key entering the front door lock. Rebecca grabbed the black phone containing the recording. I took her hand and pulled her away from the window. Don't let him know we found it, I whispered. Where can I hide it? Give it to me. I placed the phone inside my coat pocket and started recording with my own phone. The front door opened. Adam stepped inside carrying 2 grocery bags. He was smiling. Rebecca. I forgot Evans. He stopped when he saw me. The grocery bags slipped from his hands. A glass jar struck the floor and shattered. For the first time since I had known him, Adam had no lie prepared. His eyes moved from Rebecca to me. Then to the wedding photograph still open on my phone. Rachel, he said. Quietly? What are you doing here? Rebecca stared at him. Who is Rachel? Adam closed the door behind him. He did not answer. Rebecca stepped closer. I asked you a question, Michael. When she called him Michael, his face changed again. The kind husband disappeared. The patient father disappeared. The man standing in front of us. Looked colder. Calculating. He glanced toward the staircase, perhaps checking whether Evan was home. Where is he? Adam asked. At school. What time does he get back? Stop asking about Evan. Tell me who you are. Adam looked at me. Rachel, you shouldn't be here. I followed you. That was a mistake. Your mistake was marrying 2 women. He exhaled slowly. Then he removed his coat and placed it over the back of a chair as if this were an ordinary family conversation. I can explain everything. Rebecca laughed, but there was no humor in it. Which name are you planning to use while you explain?
He ignored her. He told us that Michael Hayes was his birth name. Adam Cole was an identity.
He had been given after becoming involved in a federal investigation. According to him, he had witnessed executives at an insurance company destroying evidence related to fraudulent construction claims. He claimed powerful people had threatened him and Rebecca. He said federal agents helped him disappear. Years later, he learned that Rebecca and Evan were still in danger. So he began visiting them secretly. His story sounded carefully constructed. There was only one problem. Evan was 8. Adam had supposedly disappeared into his new identity 9 years earlier. Rebecca leaned against the table. If you disappeared before Evan was born, how did I become pregnant? Adam's mouth tightened. He was born before the paperwork was complete. No, he wasn't. Rebecca walked to a shelf and took down Evan's baby book. She opened it to the page containing his birth certificate. You were beside me when he was born. You brought us home from the hospital. You lived here for another 6 months before you started traveling. Adam looked at the certificate but said nothing. I asked him the question that mattered most. Why did you marry me? He looked almost offended. Because I loved you. You were already married. It wasn't that simple. It is exactly that simple. He moved toward me. I stepped back. Rebecca positioned herself between us. Then she asked about the insurance policies. Every remaining trace of warmth left his face. What insurance policies? The $1 million policies you opened on both of us. I didn't open anything. You asked us to sign them. I asked you to update your family protection on the same day? I said, using the same agent? Adam looked toward the desk. The bottom drawer was still open. He saw the charging cable hanging over the edge. His eyes moved immediately to my coat pocket. That was when I understood why he had returned. He had not forgotten anything belonging to Evan. He had come for the phone. Give it to me, he said. Rebecca's voice trembled. Give you what? Peter called. He said one of my phones was still here. I took another step back. Adam advanced toward me. I don't know what you think you heard, Rachel, but you don't understand the situation. I heard you say you wouldn't have either wife to worry about after Christmas Eve. He stopped. Rebecca closed her eyes. Until that moment. Part of her might still have hoped that the voice on the recording was not his. Now he had confirmed it. What were you planning? She asked. Nothing. What happens on Christmas Eve? Adam turned toward her. Rebecca, listen to me. I have protected you for 11 years. You lied to me for 11 years. I gave you this house. My parents gave me this house. I paid the mortgage. There hasn't been a mortgage since my mother died. Adam looked toward the front window. His car was still running outside. He was measuring the distance to the door. I held up my phone. The police already have the recording. That was a lie. I had not sent it to anyone. But Adam believed me. He rushed toward the door. Rebecca grabbed his sleeve. He pulled away so hard that she fell against the table. I moved to help her. By the time I looked up, Adam was outside. His SUV reversed across the snow-covered lawn and nearly struck the mailbox. Then he disappeared down the street. I called the police. While we waited, I sent the audio file to my sister Megan, my email account, and a cloud storage folder. I refused to risk losing the only evidence we had. 2 Bellwether police officers arrived 15 minutes later. At first, they treated the situation as a domestic dispute. Then we showed them the marriage certificates. We showed them the property documents. We played the recording. The older officer stopped writing when he heard Adam mention Christmas Eve. He contacted a detective. Her name was Elena Ruiz. She arrived wearing a dark wool coat with snow melting across the shoulders. Detective Ruiz listened without interrupting. When we finished, she asked 3 questions. Where were our children? Did Adam own any weapons? And did either of us know Peter Lawson's current location? Evan was still at school. Sophie was also at school, more than an hour away. Rebecca said Adam kept a hunting rifle in a locked cabinet in their garage. I had never seen him own a weapon. Neither of us knew where Peter was. Detective Ruiz immediately sent officers to both schools. She also ordered units to watch our homes. You need to understand something, she told us. Having 2 marriages is a crime, but the recording suggests we may be dealing with something more serious. Until we locate your husband, neither of you should go anywhere alone. My husband. The words sounded wrong now. Rebecca's husband. My husband. Michael. Adam. Did not even know what to call him. One of the officers searched Adam's SUV registration. The vehicle was registered to Adam Thomas Cole at my address, but its insurance policy listed Michael Andrew Hayes as an approved driver. Both identities had been placed on the same document. Someone had become careless. Detective Ruiz called the insurance company. Peter Lawson had not reported to work that morning. His supervisor said Peter had emptied his desk 2 days earlier. He had also transferred several client files to a private external drive. The files belonged to Rebecca and me. Ruiz asked whether we had somewhere safe to stay. My sister Megan lived in a secured apartment building near the hospital. I called her and explained only that Adam had been lying and that the police were involved. Then I asked her to collect Sophie from school. Megan agreed. Rebecca arranged for her neighbor, Mrs. Dalton, to collect Evan. We believed both children were safe. Detective Ruiz drove us to my house so we could collect clothing and Sophie's medication. 2 police cruisers followed. The front door was unlocked. I knew I had locked it before leaving that morning. Inside, the house looked normal. The Christmas tree lights were still glowing. Sophie's unfinished cereal bowl sat beside the sink, but Adam's photographs were gone. Every framed picture showing his face had been removed from the walls. His clothes were missing from the bedroom. His passport was gone. So was mine. Detective Ruiz opened the small safe in our closet. It was empty. I kept Sophie's birth certificate, our marriage certificate, and my mother's jewelry inside it. Everything had disappeared. An officer searched Adam's home office. The computer was gone, but the charging cable remained beneath the desk. The filing cabinet had been emptied. In the trash, Ruiz found several strips of shredded paper. They were too damaged to read, but one fragment contained part of an address. Lake Mercer Road. Rebecca recognized the name. Her parents had once owned a vacation cabin near Mercer Lake. After they died, the property was sold. Adam had handled the sale. She had never met the buyer. Detective Ruiz requested the current property records. While she waited, another officer came downstairs carrying a small framed photograph. He had found it behind Sophie's dresser. The picture showed Adam standing beside Peter Lawson at our wedding. On the back, someone had written a date and a short message. 7 years completed. 4 remaining. The handwriting was Peter's. I remembered watching him write a birthday card for Sophie the previous year. The numbers made no sense. 7 years completed. 4 remaining. Rebecca's marriage had lasted 11 years. Mine had lasted 7. 4 more years would have made both marriages 11 years long. Was that their schedule? Had Adam planned each marriage to last exactly 11 years? Detective Ruiz placed the photograph in an evidence bag. Then her phone rang. She listened for almost a minute. When the call ended, she looked at Rebecca. The cabin on Lake Mercer Road wasn't sold to a private buyer. It was transferred to a holding company. What company? Rebecca asked. North Star Property Management. I knew that name. It appeared every month on our bank statement. Adam had told me. North Star managed several office buildings used by his employer. Detective Ruiz searched the company registration. North Star Property Management belonged to Peter Lawson. The cabin had never truly left Adam's control. Second detective arrived with information about the life insurance policies. The policies were real. Each was worth $1 million. Both included double payment for accidental death. The most disturbing detail was not the amount. It was the location listed on the accidental death forms. Both forms named the same property as our planned holiday destination. The cabin on Lake Mercer Road. Someone had already filed documents stating that both families would spend Christmas Eve there. Rebecca and I had never planned to visit that cabin. We had never even met until that morning. Ruiz believed Adam intended to bring us there separately. He might have told me it was a surprise trip. He could have told Rebecca the same thing, once. Both wives were inside the cabin. Adam and Peter could stage an accident. A gas leak. A fire, or something designed to make it appear that too. Jealous women had discovered each other and fought. The policies listed Adam as my beneficiary. Michael Hayes was Rebecca's beneficiary. On paper, two different widowers would collect the money. In reality, the payments would go to the same man. Detective Ruiz requested an immediate search warrant for the cabin. Police units headed toward Lake Mercer Road. By then, the snowstorm had grown stronger. Visibility outside my windows had dropped to less than half a block. I called Megan again. She did not answer. I tried a second time, then a third. Finally, she called back. She sounded breathless. Rachel, I'm at Sophie's school. Do you have her? There was a pause. No, my knees weakened. What do you mean? The receptionist said. Adam picked her up. Detective Ruiz turned toward me. I put the call on speaker. When? Ruiz asked. 20 minutes ago. He told them there was a family emergency. He's her father, so they let her leave with him. Did anyone see what he was driving? A gray pickup truck. Peter owned a gray pickup truck. Detective Ruiz immediately issued an abduction alert. She asked the school to preserve its security footage. Officers began checking traffic cameras and highway entrances. I called Adam. His number went directly to voicemail. Then my phone vibratd. A photograph had arrived from an unknown number. Sophie was sitting in the back seat of a vehicle. She was wearing her pink winter coat. She looked frightened but unharmed. A handwritten note rested on her lap. Bring Rebecca's phone to the cabin. Come alone. Tell the police. And Sophie learns what happens to wives who break their promises. Second message arrived seconds later. This one contained a photograph of Evan leaving his school beside Mrs. Dalton. Someone had taken it from across the street. Adam was not only watching my daughter, Peter was watching Rebecca's son. Then a final message appeared. Christmas Eve had been 3 days away, but the message said their plan had changed. Both families would be finished before midnight. Detective Ruiz told me not to answer the message. I answered anyway. I need to hear Sophie's voice. The response arrived almost immediately. Bring the phone first. Then you get your daughter. Ruiz watched the screen. He's close enough to see whether you're responding, she said, or Peter is relaying the messages. I looked through the window at the worsening snow. Then let me take the phone to the cabin. No, he has my daughter, and he wants you alone. That cabin may have been prepared to kill you. Rebecca stepped forward. He asked for my phone. We can use it to make him believe we're cooperating. Ruiz studied both of us. She knew we would go with or without her permission. Finally, she agreed to a controlled exchange. Officers copied everything from the black phone. They installed a small tracking transmitter beneath its battery compartment. A tactical unit began moving toward Mercer Lake using unmarked vehicles. The storm made helicopters impossible, and the narrow mountain roads prevented police from approaching quickly. I would drive my car toward the cabin. An unmarked police SUV would follow several minutes behind. Rebecca was supposed to remain at the station with Evan, but before I left, her neighbor called. Mrs. Dalton had collected Evan from school, but an overturned truck was blocking the main road into Bellwether. Police instructed her to take Evan home, lock the doors and wait for an escort. Rebecca spoke to her son through a video call. He was frightened, but safe. She promised she would see him soon. Then she turned to Detective Ruiz. I'm going with Rachel. Ruiz refused. Rebecca did not argue. She simply held up her wedding certificate. He has spent 11 years controlling every part of my life. He knows how I think. He knows what frightens me. If Rachel walks into that cabin alone, he will manipulate her. I'm not going to let him manipulate me, I said. Rebecca looked at me. That is exactly what I would have said yesterday. Ruiz allowed Rebecca to ride in the unmarked police SUV. She was not supposed to enter the cabin under any circumstances. I drove north alone. Snow covered the highway, faster than the plows could clear it. The farther I traveled from Bellwether, the weaker my phone signal became. Every few minutes, another message arrived. Do not stop. Do not turn around. Do not bring police. At one point,
Headlights appeared behind me. I thought it was the unmarked
police vehicle. Then the vehicle accelerated and pulled alongside. It was a gray pickup truck. Peter Lawson was driving. He looked directly at me. Then he raised one finger to his lips. Before I could react, he sped ahead and disappeared into the snow. I called Detective Ruiz through the hidden earpiece she had given me. I saw Peter. Did he threaten you? No. He told me to be quiet. Keep driving. Do not follow him if he leaves the main road.
10 minutes later,
I reached Lake Mercer Road. The pavement ended. A narrow trail continued between snow-covered pine trees. My headlights revealed fresh tire tracks. They belonged to a truck. The cabin stood at the end of the road. It was smaller than I expected. Dark timber walls. Stone chimney. One yellow light glowing behind a frosted window. Peter's pickup was parked near a shed. Adam's UV was nowhere in sight. I stopped near the front steps. The door opened. My husband stood inside. He was wearing the dark sweater I had given him for his birthday. Seeing something so familiar in that place made him more frightening. Come inside, he said. Where is Sophie? She's safe. I want to see her. Give me the phone. I held it up but did not move. Sophie first. Adam glanced toward the trees. He suspected the police were nearby, if he knew they were there. He gave no sign. He stepped away from the doorway. I entered. The cabin was warm. Fire burned in the stone fireplace. 2 cups sat on the table. Beside them were Rebecca's insurance documents and mine. I heard a faint sound from somewhere behind the kitchen. Sophie? No answer. Adam closed the door. Give me Rebecca's phone. I kept it inside my coat. Tell me your real name. You know my name? Which one? He stared at me. Adam is the man I became when I met you. That isn't an answer. It's the only answer that matters. Did you plan to kill us here? His expression softened. It was the same expression he used whenever Sophie was ill or I was frightened. For years, that face had made me feel safe. Now I understood it was another tool. Rachel, Peter created the policies. You asked me to sign mine because Peter threatened Sophie. Why would he threaten her? Because I discovered he had been stealing from his clients. He used my information to create the second identity. He forced me to keep both lives going so he could move money through our accounts. It was a clever explanation. He placed himself at the center of the lie while pretending to be its victim. Rebecca said you married her before you met Peter. She's confused. She has photographs. Photographs can be altered. She has a son with you. Adam's eyes became cold again. Evan isn't my son. The cruelty of the lie shocked me. Evan looked exactly like him. He calls you Dad. Because Rebecca taught him to. I heard movement beneath the floorboards. Not behind the kitchen. Below us. Adam noticed that I had heard it. He moved between me and the hallway. Give me the phone. Sophie is under the cabin. Rachel, is Peter down there too? Peter brought her here. I came to rescue her. Then why didn't you call the police?
he reached for my coat. I stepped back and knocked one of the cups.
From the table. It shattered against the floor. That was the emergency signal Ruiz had told me to use if I could not speak. Adam lunged toward me. Before he reached me, the back door opened. Rebecca stood there. Snow covered her hair and coat. She had left the police vehicle and walked through the trees. Adam stared at her. In disbelief, Rebecca held his hunting rifle. It was unloaded. Ruiz had removed the ammunition before allowing her near the cabin. Adam did not know that. Step away from her, Rebecca said. Put that down. Where is Sophie? Peter has her. Rebecca shook her head. No, Peter called me while Rachel was driving. Adam's confidence disappeared. He told me you were going to blame him. You believe Peter? I believe the documents he sent me. She held up her phone. Peter had sent her photographs of bank transfers, insurance applications, and messages written by Adam. One message contained detailed instructions for the cabin. Disable the carbon monoxide detector. Connect a generator to the lower ventilation system. Make sure both vehicles are close enough to burn. Another message instructed Peter to place Rachel's fingerprints on a container of gasoline. The final plan was clear. Adam intended to kill both of us. Then he would create evidence suggesting that I had discovered the second marriage. Followed Rebecca to the cabin and started a fire during a confrontation. Adam would survive under one identity. Peter would verify the story. Michael Hayes would be declared dead in the fire. Adam Cole would appear to be a grieving husband whose unstable wife had killed 2 people before dying herself. He would collect Rebecca's policy through accounts connected to the Michael identity. Then he would collect mine as Adam. 2 wives, 2 insurance policies, 1 surviving husband. Adam looked toward the window. Red and blue lights appeared faintly between the trees. He reached into his pocket. Rebecca raised the rifle. Don't. He pulled out a small remote control. Then he pressed the button. The cabin went dark. A mechanical engine started beneath the floor. The smell of gasoline filled the room. Adam pushed past Rebecca and ran through the back door. I heard Detective Ruiz shouting outside. Officers moved through the trees. I dropped to the floor and called Sophie's name. This time, she answered, Mom. Her voice came from beneath the kitchen. Rebecca found an iron ring hidden under a rug. Together, we lifted a trapdoor. A narrow staircase descended into darkness. Thick fumes rose from below. I ran down the steps. Sophie was locked inside a small storage room. She was crying and striking the door with both hands. Beside the door, a portable generator pumped exhaust into the enclosed basement. I pulled at the lock. It would not open. Rebecca found an axe mounted on the wall and struck the wooden frame until it cracked. We pulled Sophie free. She wrapped her arms around me. I knew you would come, she cried. The generator sputtered. A spark flashed near the fuel line. Detective Ruiz appeared at the top of the stairs. We have to get out now. Officers carried Sophie from the cabin. Rebecca and I followed. We reached the trees seconds before flames erupted through the kitchen windows. The blast knocked snow from the roof and shattered the front glass. Fire spread across the dry interior. Adam was gone. His footprints led toward the frozen lake. Police followed them to an abandoned snowmobile trail, where the tracks disappeared beneath fresh snow. Peter's truck remained beside the shed. Officers searched the property. They found Peter inside a locked equipment room beneath the shed. His hands were tied. But he was alive. Adam had attacked him after. Peter refused to continue with the plan. Paramedics examined Peter inside an ambulance. Then Detective Ruiz questioned him. Peter admitted helping. Adam maintained the 2 identities. Years earlier, Peter worked at a county records office. Adam paid him to obtain the birth certificate of an infant named Adam Thomas Cole who had died 40 years earlier. Using that document, they created a new social security record, driver's license, and financial history. Peter claimed he believed the second identity was for hiding money from creditors. By the time he discovered Rebecca existed, Adam had already married me. Instead of reporting him, Peter helped continue the deception. Adam paid him. Peter forged documents. He created false work schedules. He redirected mail. He even attended our wedding to make the Adam Cole identity look legitimate. Why did you leave the recording on the phone? Ruiz asked. Peter lowered his eyes. I wanted one of them to find it. Why not go directly to the police? Because Michael had evidence against me. If he went down, I went down too. His name is Michael? Peter looked toward the burning cabin. No. Rebecca and I stared at him. Peter said he had never known. Adam's original name, Michael Hayes, was another identity, one that existed before Peter met him. Police checked the fingerprints taken from the cabin. 3 hours later, a federal database returned a match. The man we knew as Adam Cole and Michael Hayes had been born as Jonathan Mercer. He was the son of the man who originally built the cabin, 22 years earlier. Jonathan worked as a claims investigator for the same insurance company that issued our policies. He disappeared after more than $4 million was stolen through false death claims. A company accountant had agreed to testify against him. Before the trial, that accountant died in a house fire. The fire had been ruled accidental. Jonathan Mercer was presumed dead. Several months later, when his car was discovered at the bottom of a flooded quarry, no body was ever recovered. He had spent more than 20 years changing names and creating new lives. Rebecca asked Peter about the message on the back of our wedding. Photograph. 7 years completed. 4 remaining. Peter explained that Adam believed 11 years was the perfect length for a false identity. Long enough to establish property ownership, insurance history, and family trust. Short enough to disappear before inconsistencies were discovered. Rebecca's identity cycle had reached 11 years. Mine had reached 7. I had 4 remaining. But when Adam learned that his old fingerprints had been uploaded to a federal database, he moved the plan forward. He could no longer wait. He needed both wives gone before investigators connected his identities. Detective Ruiz asked where Adam would go. Peter hesitated. Then he told us about a private airfield across the state border. Adam kept cash and false passports inside a hangar there. He had planned to leave the country after the cabin fire. What about our children? Rebecca asked. Peter looked at her. He wasn't planning to leave them behind. My arms tightened around Sophie. Peter said. Adam had prepared new passports for Sophie and Evan. He intended to take them with him. He would tell them their mothers had died because of a terrible accident. Then he would raise them under new names in another country. I immediately called the bellwether officers protecting Evan. No one answered. Detective Ruiz contacted dispatch. The patrol unit sent to Mrs. Dalton's house had never arrived. Its tires had been damaged on the road. A replacement unit reached the house 20 minutes later. The front door was open. Mrs. Dalton was unconscious in the kitchen but alive. Evan was gone. Security camera across the street had recorded a man wearing a police uniform leading him into a dark SUV. The man's face was hidden, but Evan did not resist. He willingly held the stranger's hand. Rebecca watched the footage twice. Then she pointed at the man's wrist. A silver watch was visible beneath the borrowed uniform. She had given that watch to Michael on their 10th anniversary. Adam had taken Evan, and according to the airfield records, a private plane was scheduled to depart in less than 2 hours. The private plane was scheduled to leave in less than 2 hours. The airfield was almost 90 miles away. In good weather, the drive would take just over an hour. That night, the roads were disappearing beneath heavy snow. Detective Ruiz ordered state police to close every highway leading to the border. She contacted the airfield and instructed the manager to disable the runway lights. No aircraft was permitted to leave. Then Peter gave her another warning. Jonathan won't use the main entrance, he said. There's an old maintenance road behind the hangars. How do you know? Ruiz asked. I helped him move money through that airfield. Peter explained that Hangar 17 belonged to another shell company. Inside were emergency supplies, false passports, and enough cash for Adam to disappear for years. Adam had also paid a pilot named Charles Voss to remain available throughout Christmas week. Ruiz contacted the pilot. Voss answered from his home. He had received a message canceling the flight 40 minutes earlier. Adam intended to fly the plane himself. According to Voss, Adam had taken private flying lessons for more than 5 years. The plane was small enough for 1 adult and 2 children. 2 children. Sophie and Evan. He had always planned to take both of them. The cabin had not been his final escape point. It was where he intended to erase their mothers. I looked at Sophie. She was sitting inside a police SUV wrapped in a blanket. A paramedic had examined her and found no serious injuries. She did not fully understand what had happened. She kept asking why her father had locked her below the cabin. I told her Adam was confused and dangerous. I told her none of it was her fault. I did not tell her he had planned to make her believe I was dead. Detective Ruiz wanted Sophie taken to a secure hospital. I agreed. My sister Megan met the ambulance on the highway. Before Sophie left, she wrapped her arms around me. Are you coming too? I have to help them find Evan. Daddy said Evan was my brother. My throat tightened. He is. Did you know? Not until today. Sophie looked toward Rebecca. Rebecca stood beside the police vehicle with tears frozen on her cheeks. Sophie held out her hand. Rebecca took it. Please bring him back, Sophie whispered. Rebecca promised she would. The ambulance carried Sophie south. We traveled north. Ruiz did not want Rebecca or me near the airfield. But Adam knew our voices. If he refused to release Evan, one of us might be able to keep him talking. We rode with Ruiz in an unmarked SUV, while tactical vehicles followed at a distance. During the drive, Rebecca received a call. The number was blocked. She answered through the police recording system. Adam spoke calmly. Where are you? Looking for our son. You shouldn't have gone to the cabin. You shouldn't have taken Evan. I'm protecting him. From whom? From people who will use him to reach me. You locked Sophie below a generator. Peter did that. I saw the messages you sent him. There was a pause. Then Adam stopped pretending. Bring Sophie to the airfield. No, if you want Evan back, bring her. The police have closed the runway. Then they've trapped your son inside a building with a desperate man. Rebecca covered her mouth. Ruiz signaled for her to continue talking. Let me speak to Evan. Rebecca said. A few seconds later, we heard him. Mom? I'm here, sweetheart. Dad says we're going on a trip. You're not going anywhere with him. Adam took the phone back. You have 30 minutes. He ended the call. The conversation lasted long enough for technicians to narrow his location. He was inside Hangar 17. State police surrounded the airfield without, using lights or sirens. The storm helped hide their approach. Snow covered the runway. Through binoculars, officers saw a dark SUV parked behind the hangar. The large metal doors were closed. Small plane was visible through a side window. Its engine was running. Detective Ruiz used a loudspeaker. Jonathan Mercer, this is the state police. The airfield is surrounded. Send Evan outside. No response. Ruiz repeated the command using both of his married names, Michael Hayes, Adam Cole. Whatever name you are using, there is nowhere left to go. The hangar lights went out. The plane's engine continued running. Rebecca asked for the loudspeaker. Ruiz hesitated before giving it to her. Evan, it's Mom. If you can hear me, remember what we practiced at school. When you are lost, you move toward the sound of someone you trust. Nothing happened. Then a small door at the side of the hangar opened. Adam stepped outside. He held Evan tightly against his side. The boy wore no coat. Adam had wrapped his own jacket around him. For 1 second, the gesture looked almost protective. Then I remembered the insurance policies. The generator. The false passports. Adam used love when it helped him control someone. He raised one hand to show that he was not holding a weapon. Rebecca, he called, come out here. Ruiz ordered her to remain behind the vehicle. I want my son, Rebecca answered. He is my son too. You said he wasn't yours. I said what I needed to say. That is all you have ever done. Adam looked toward the unmarked vehicles. Where is Sophie? She's safe. Bring her to me. No! His arm tightened around Evan. The boy began crying. I took the loudspeaker from Rebecca. Adam, Sophie knows what you did. She's 6. She doesn't understand. She understands that her father locked her in a basement. Peter locked her there. Peter is alive. He told the police everything. Adam looked toward the plane. He was searching for another way out. I continued speaking. You cannot become someone else this time. They have your fingerprints. They know you're Jonathan Mercer. Hearing his original name affected him more than anything else. His face lost its confidence. Jonathan Mercer was not a husband, Not a father. Not an identity he had carefully built. Jonathan Mercer was a wanted criminal who had finally been found. You don't know what happened, he said. I know enough. My father taught me how to survive.
He used people and threw them away. I promised I would never be powerless like him.
So you became him. Adam's eyes fixed on me. For a moment, I saw anger. Then I saw fear. Not fear for Evan. Fear for himself. Rebecca stepped from behind the SUV. Before Ruiz could stop her. She moved slowly across the snow. Let him come to me. Bring Sophie. She isn't here. You're lying. I lied to you once, Rebecca said. I lied when I said I believed you were a good man. I stopped believing that years ago. Adam stared at her. Rebecca continued walking. You think we never noticed the missing hours? The changed stories? The money? We noticed. We blamed ourselves because you trained us to doubt what we saw. Stop. You chose women who would trust you. Stop talking. You believed Rachel and I would hate each other more than we hated what you did. Adam's expression changed. That had been the foundation of his plan. If we discovered each other, he expected us to fight. He expected Rebecca to see me as the woman who stole her husband. He expected me to see her as the secret family that destroyed mine. He never imagined we would sit at the same table and compare his lies. You made one mistake, Rebecca said. What mistake? You gave both of your wives the same enemy. Evan suddenly pulled away. Adam reached for him. But the jacket slipped from the boy's shoulders. Evan ran toward his mother. Rebecca dropped to her knees and caught him. At the same moment, officers moved from both sides of the hangar. Adam turned and ran inside. The plane began moving, its propeller through snow and ice across the floor. The large hangar doors started opening. Adam believed he could reach the runway before police vehicles blocked him. But the plane traveled less than 50 feet. The right wheel struck a steel locking barrier hidden beneath the snow. The plane spun sideways and stopped. Officers surrounded the cockpit. Adam remained inside with his hands gripping the controls. Ruiz approached from behind an armored vehicle. It's over, Jonathan. For several seconds, he did not move. Then he looked through the windshield. Rebecca held Evan. I stood beside them. 2 wives, 2 children. The 2 families he had kept apart were now standing together. Adam raised his hands. Police pulled him from the cockpit and placed him in handcuffs. As they led him past us.
He looked at me. You loved me, he said. I expected the words to hurt. They did not. I love someone who never existed.
He turned toward Rebecca. She said nothing. That silence affected him more than anger could have. Jonathan Mercer was charged with attempted murder, kidnapping, identity fraud, insurance fraud, arson, bigamy, and conspiracy. Federal investigators reopened the financial case, connected to his disappearance 22 years earlier. They also examined dozens of insurance claims he had handled under different names.